Yeah, he's back. They released him this week, so he's back and will be available. Obviously hadn't played, but he's did scout team last week. In fact, he was scout team player of the week. Imagine that. So that was good to see. Guys erupted yesterday when we did the honor roll. Everybody loves T-Bone, man, and he's been a coach for us. I mean, he's been on the headset. I mean, he's been working out there, and I think he's really enjoyed that. He's going to be a great coach one day. But I think it's been a good perspective for him, as we've gone through games and stuff. But he's excited. He's worked really, really hard to get back. He's been through a lot with his labrum and his hip and his groin and his torn hamstrings and all that stuff. So, we'll have him available and see how it goes.
Is Jalen Phillips back at practice as well?
No, he's still out. We think Sherry has a chance. He's working his way, so hopefully he'll maybe be available.
Bumped Hannafin up a little bit on the depth chart. Is that a sign that more snaps for him could come on offense?
Yeah, it's just kind of Spector's out, so it's just really more a combination of what he's done. I mean, we really like Ronan. This kid's getting better and better and better. He can really run. He's figuring it out. I'm really glad we went ahead and played him, because even though you hadn't seen a lot like stat-wise, we've seen a lot of growth and maturity with him and development. So it's really just, mostly a product, with guys being out, Cole out, Antonio out, and then Spector going out as well. So just kind of forced the issue there, but he's doing good for us.
Dabo, you mentioned on the radio last night you thought it was the most complete effort of the season over the weekend. For as turbulent as the first few months of the season have been for you, how rewarding is it to start to see a young team with the lights start to turn on the further into the year you get?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been in position to win every week, and again, you just, to see them finish, to see them, win the turnover margin, and to see them get the results from that, it just that's contagious too. And you start to, play a little more complimentary football. These guys have competed their butts off all year. I mean, they really have. And then in particular, defensively, I mean, they've been really good all year. And our scoring defense isn't quite as good as it needs to be, because it doesn't quite match up. We're sixth in the country, but that's because we've scored a lot of points for the other team. So that doesn't help. But I'm just proud of how they've hung in there and how they've competed. And again, you lose in double overtime with 3 turnovers. You lose in overtime to a team that's probably going to be in the playoffs on a scoop score. And you lose in a pick 6 one-score game at NC State, and you lose the opener with a bunch of turnovers inside the 7, with no points. And so those are frustrating things, but to see them kind of play their way through it, and now to see them, doing what it takes. They're taking care of the ball. We've really been a pretty good third down team all year, but now, red zone, we were 4 for 4 last week. That really hurt us early part of the year, because it wasn't just turnovers, it was where these turnovers were, right? I mean, these are like 14-point swings. It's not like you just turn the ball over, backed up and they got to go 90. You're turning the ball over as you're going in to score touchdowns, and just some really disappointing things. And it's just good to see them play their way through it and hang in there. And they've beaten some good teams, and to see them for them to see what it looks like when they really put it together is contagious. And so hopefully that will continue. And again, it doesn't get any easier. This is probably the biggest challenge we've had offensively. These dudes they're really good. But I like what we're doing. And then when you play well, and as I've said 1,000 times, if we can, execute our plan to win, which starts with effort, guys have played hard, they've done that. But the next thing is win the turnover margin. And then it's 2 more big plays in the opponent. Be the least penalized team. That means we got to have good discipline. Let's don't have a bunch of stupid penalties. Make a difference in special teams. All right, not have mental errors where we got a bunch of busts going on. It's kind of our plan to win. When we do that, we win, and that's what you've seen these last couple of weeks. But this week, I thought we did it for 3+, a complete game with our ones. When we subbed in the 4th. We had some guys, kind of get exposed a little bit, which will help them get better. So I think it's great because, sometimes you just got to see it and you got to feel it. And, hopefully that will be the spark that this group needs to finish well.
Do you have a long-term sort of thought on, or plan on kicker, like what you're thinking beyond this year after White's, I guess?
Yeah, we went and signed. We're going to sign we think the best guy in the country. That's our plan, to come and create competition. And then we signed Robert, anticipating he'd be the best too. And obviously he has struggled this year, and he struggled in practice too. So I mean, it's really not. Now his kickoffs are amazing. Guy's a weapon. But we'll see what happens. I've been in a situation before. We when was it? So 2010, that was the year that everybody, same question. What are y'all going to do at kicker? I mean, y'all have got to get somebody. This Catanzaro guy can't do it. What are we doing? And so we went and signed, we think, a great kicker from Georgia that year. And what happened? Catanzaro still won the job, and then he left here as the leading scorer in the history of the school and made some of the biggest kicks in the history of the school. So who knows? But yeah, we address it, and I think we got a pretty good chance to address it. I think we're going, if everything works out, we're trying to sign the best kicker in the country, and if that works out, then you got great competition, and competition makes everybody better, and go from there.
Did Liam Boyd leave because he thought Robert Gunn was, I guess, the same reason why?
I mean, you had to ask him that. I mean, obviously we had, I don't know, they all make decisions for different reasons, but I think the biggest thing was just maybe in-state tuition. But, but I'm not surprised to see him kicking. He's a good kicker. We certainly wanted him to stay. He's a good one. We thought he had a chance to be a guy, in the mix. But I think he also, these guys, all these kickers know each other, right? And it's like its own little circuit. So they all know each other, and who's here, who's coming, all that stuff. But I really like Liam. I think he's a good one. Matt called me at like, when is the portal stuff? When did he leave? Was it May? Yeah, May. When does it end? When does it end? Sometime in May, early May. Matt calls me at like, I don't even know, like, or maybe Liam called me at like late, like, to tell me he was going in the portal, and then like not long after that, Max calling me, who's this kicker? And I said, well, you want him if you can get him. I think he's got a chance to be a good one. So I'm glad they got him, and I think he's a great kid, and good to see him competing for him.
Any questions for Coach virtually? Anybody else in the room?
Let's just do get an update. Antonio Williams, is there still hope he can play before the end of that?
Yeah, he's progressing. So we'll just see. If he plays, it'd be next week. I don't see him playing this week, but he's progressing, and for sure, I think the bowl game. A couple of those guys. Hopefully, we're hopeful we can get maybe Marcus Tate back for the bowl, maybe Speck back for the bowl. Maybe a couple other guys, but that's Antonio, kind of same thing. So if he plays, it'd be next week, but for sure, we think we'd be ready for the bowl.
Becky from Gaffney asked, so I'll follow up just directly on any interest from you in the Texas A&M job.
Oh yeah, Becky, she's a star. She is a star. Man, I'm just focused on this job. Always have been, and just trying to find a way to beat North Carolina. That's it. Must be November. That's all I can say.
Anybody else for Coach? All right, thank you, Coach.
Becky, are you the one doing the interview with Becky? Who's doing the interview with Becky? She's. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's.
I wish.
Becky is. She's a character.
You get hair done Friday.